Hello, hello, Asla Foss here. So, for the past month and a half, I've been playing an early access game on Steam. It's called Fields of Mistria, and it's a farming simulation RPG that takes a lot of inspiration from its predecessors, like the Story-of-Seasons franchise. I've been having lots of fun, and I look forward to each update the developers provide. Like many farming simulators, Fields of Mistria has eligible suitors for the player to romance. One of the more prominent bachelors shown in the promo for the game is March, a blacksmith with as fiery an attitude as his red hair. This brought me down memory lane, back in the early 2000s playing my copy of Harvest Moon: More Friends of Mineral Town. In this spin-off of the original Game Boy Advance title, players took the role of a femme-presenting farmer, and even then, I knew who exactly was going to be the character I'd romance. It was the blonde, sports-capped apprentice to his blacksmith grandfather, the rough-around-the-edges gray. Seeing a pattern here? It made me wonder, exactly what do I find so appealing about these blacksmith-type characters? With this question in mind, I'd like to talk about the common characteristics that appear across the different games. Please note that these characteristics won't fit all the characters I discuss 100% accurately. I'm just going over some common tropes associated with blacksmiths. While I'm sure there are more blacksmith characters from games I don't know about, I'll only be focusing on a handful of characters from series I am familiar with. These games include Harvest Moon: More Friends of Mineral Town, Fields of Mistria, Rune Factory 5, Harvest Moon: Tree of Tranquility and Harvest Moon: Animal Parade, and finally Story of Seasons: Trio of Towns. Let me know down in the comments below if there are other characters who fit the bill as a romanceable blacksmith. But without further ado, let's start with the first common trait, strength. As smithing requires metals, a working forge, and hammering the metal into shape, being strong is a must-have. I'm by no means into muscly men per se, but I hope I don't need to spell it out. The next common trait is aloofness. Starting all the way with Gray from Harvest Moon, blacksmiths in dating sims lean towards a more standoffish attitude when first meeting a player character. The reasons can vary from being generally socially awkward, being preoccupied with their work, insecurities, and so on. There are exceptions to the rule, of course. Ludus of Trio of Towns, while still somewhat stoic, is still pretty sociable, and Owen of the Tree of Tranquility and Animal Parade games bucks the trope altogether with his cheerful, brotherly personality. However, there's definitely an appeal to having a character that starts out uninterested, or in some cases disliking, the player character. From a gameplay perspective, it can encourage players to put in the effort to improve the relationship and get on the blacksmith's good side. Whereas with most love interests, there's a baseline niceness and interest in the player. The contrast in the blacksmith's attitude can feel refreshing. There's also a more noticeable change in the character's behavior in the course of the player increasing their friendship. I know I have a spike of dopamine when I correctly guess a liked or even loved gift for these characters. The blacksmith slowly starts to open up to the player, whether it be about their struggles or just being more open in general about their thoughts and feelings on the world. Much like in real-life relationships, it feels good when you feel like you're becoming closer with a person you like or admire. Often in the course of the game, players come to realize the softer side to these blacksmiths, jerks with a heart of gold. Though in the case of March, he might just be a jerk. Still cute though. The last common trait of blacksmiths is their reliability. The primary role of the blacksmith within a farming sim is to help the player in upgrading their tools and getting newer tools or weapons. As such, most players will be visiting the blacksmith to have their tools improved, and these create opportunities to get to know their love interest. Something that seems applicable to all of the blacksmiths I've researched is a love for their craft, if not from the start of the game, then over the course of the story. Characters like Ludus and Martin take on lots of responsibility, whether it's for their community or for the sake of their family. Even more abrasive characters like March from Fields of Mistria are serious about their work. Maybe this is me talking as the hag I am, but seeing a potential partner put in time to their interests and being reliable just sets off fireworks in my mind. It shows that they really care about their job and those that rely on them. And that's really attractive, you know? So let's review the main traits. First, blacksmith characters are often strong. Second, they often start out as aloof and uninterested with the player character. Third, and last of all, blacksmiths often are reliable, both in their gameplay and within the narrative of their respective games. As shown here, it varies character to character which of these aspects appear and which will overlap with one another. But let's return to the question I posed at the start. What makes these blacksmith characters so appealing? From these aspects, I can safely say that the appeal of this archetype is much like a diamond in the rough. The more you get to know the character, the easier it is to see their good points and get past their rougher edges. And maybe, just maybe, a player will get to see their passionate hearts shine, like diamonds in the sunlight. Just as these characters work hard at their jobs, the player works just as hard to win their affection. I might be overthinking it though. It's nice being able to gush about a character type that I don't think is often discussed in a broader setting. How about you guys? Were there any points you think I've missed about these blacksmiths? Go all out and gushing about them in the comments below, and feel free to like and subscribe if you're so kind. I hope to see you again in the next video. Toodaloo!